what kids do at summer camp. They were playing, they were swimming, and they were feeling safe. But part of honoring the children who lost their lives is demanding action to ensure that this never happens again, because this wasn't just a climate disaster. This was a preventable and politically charged crisis. So we're here to make several demands. The first demand is to call on Congress to immediately restore all funding to NOAA, to FEMA, and to the National Weather Service that made this crisis worse. We're also here to call on Texas Governor Abbott to demand that he releases all funds immediately. He has the power to do so today. Families need support immediately. Instead, he's trying to attach the funding to legislation that is deeply partisan. We will not stand for that. We want funding and we want support now. Our last demand is to make polluters pay for this crisis. The fossil fuel industry caused the climate crisis, and they're making it worse every day. We're at the White House because they're meeting with Donald Trump and the Trump administration to demand immunity from any type of accountability, and they're actively lobbying to cut the funding that our communities desperately need. I'm here standing in solidarity with Texas parents who don't want their children to be victims of another crisis. Please join me in welcoming Samantha Gore.
Hi. Can you hear me? Is this working? Our hearts are broken to be here today, commemorating the lives of 27 children who should be at home right now, recounting the adventures they had at summer camp. They did not die as a result of natural disaster. They died as a result of choices, terrible and deadly choices made by Kerr County officials, made by the state of Texas, and made by the Trump administration. It is so deeply unfair that these children had their lives taken from them, that these parents had their children taken from them. And we owe it to them and to all families to speak honestly about why they're no longer with us, and to make sure that no more children die because of our government's failure to protect them. Since Trump took office, NOAA and the National Weather Service have lost over 600 staff. Weather balloon launches, flood modeling tools, and emergency communication systems have been suspended or scaled back in many regions. These cuts directly affected Texas. Key Texas weather offices are understaffed, including those responsible for issuing flood alerts. Emergency coordination at the local level has been weakened due to reduced federal support. Congress just made it worse. In the most recent budget bill, Republicans, led by Texas Senator Ted Cruz, added a $200 million cut to NOAA's forecasting and public alert programs. These cuts were not in the original House version bill, but were inserted late in the Senate process by Senator Ted Cruz himself. Trump called us evil for asking why these children died in a flood that was predicted more than a year before it happened, who were drowned hours after alerts came out about risk to life. Evil is defunding our National Weather Service, NOAA, and FEMA, the agencies that we need to protect our children. Evil is using our tax dollars to fuel a climate crisis that is killing us. Evil is destroying our renewable energy industry, the only way out of the worsening climate crisis. And evil is profiting from all of the above. As a mother in the richest country in the world, I should not have to worry every night that I won't get flood warnings in time to save my family because our government defunded our National Weather Service and NOAA. This is insanity. This is so dangerous. This is not leadership. It's a combination of cowardice and corruption. All parents should understand that we have a way to stop the climate crisis from worsening. We have all of the technology we need to transition quickly off of fossil fuels and onto renewable energy. But we lack real leadership in government to get it done. This is not a partisan issue. All people's lives are at risk. Nobody is safe from this. And all parents need to come together in this moment to demand our weather services are fully funded and demand an end to the climate crisis.
People gonna rise like the water, saying shut.
Repeat after me. People gonna rise like water. People gonna rise like the water. Gonna fight this crisis now.
Gonna
Fight this crisis now. Hear the voices of our great-granddaughters. Hear the voices of our great-granddaughters. Climate justice now. Climate justice now. People gonna rise like water. People gonna rise like the water. Face this crisis now. Face this crisis now. Hear the voices of our great-granddaughters. Hear the voices of our great-granddaughters. Climate justice now. Climate justice now. People gonna rise like the water. Face this crisis now. Hear the voices of our great-granddaughters. Climate justice now. People gonna rise like the water. Face this crisis now. Hear the voices of our great-granddaughters. Climate justice now.
We're here today to represent our families, our friends, and our loved ones who perished and were affected in the flood, survivors. This was a completely preventable tragedy. Yes, this is an area that's prone to floods. However, government failed at every level, federal, state, and local. These children did not need to die. The community did not need to suffer these atrocious losses. Since the 1960s, the United States has been a leader in weather science, in climate science. Countries around the world have copied our warning systems. You've seen now what happens when this warning chain breaks. We demand that our government act as real leaders, restore funding to NOAA, restore funding to the National Weather Service, fulfill your end of the social contract, be true leaders, and allow us to live in a country where we can rely on weather prediction in 2025 so that we can survive the climate crisis that this government has created. And please do not kid yourself that this is breaking news, that there is a climate crisis. The big oil industry has been preparing for this since the 1970s, since the climate data has shown that the Earth's temperature will rise and that severe weather will increase. So please educate yourself about this. Please prepare your communities for this. That's my most important message. It is clear the government is behind the 8 ball on this. You have to prepare your communities. Parents have to come together. This can happen in your community. Demand that the government fully fund the National Weather Service, but also prepare your communities now. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nika Arnold. I'm the founder and executive director of the Healing Project, a grassroots nonprofit in Austin, Texas. Make some noise, because Austin, Texas, is in Washington, D.C. A grassroots nonprofit in Austin, Texas. For nearly 6 years since Winter Storm Uri, we've responded to disasters out of state. Our state was never prepared for. We're a small team with lived experience stepping in where systems fail. We've become responders by necessity, not by choice. But here's the truth. When humans don't prepare or respond to disasters, we make them worse. We need more than thoughts and prayers. We need accountability. That's why we're here. Who's responsible when families are left without shelter, food, or power? Who answers when local responders and nonprofits are stretched thin beyond their limits? We're asking three things. Invest in local communities, rooted response systems, because we're already doing the work. You see, we're here. Our boots are on the ground. 2, infrastructure, funding for flood prevention and climate resilience in historically marginalized neighborhoods. Y'all got me up here like I'm preaching. Are y'all catching on? Are y'all catching this? Good. Emergency planning that centers equity and not just politics. I know we got the White House right there, but come on. It's people before policies. We could not keep asking the most impacted communities to show up to be both survivors and first responders. That's not justice, and that's not sustainable. We're tired, but we're still here, as you can see, and we won't stop, and we're demanding what our communities deserve: safety, dignity, justice, and before and during the disaster strikes. Thank you.
Hey y'all, my name is Eileen McGinnis. I'm a mom based in Austin, Texas, where several families have lost loved ones in the recent flooding. I'm also here as the founder of the Parents Climate Community, a nonprofit in Central Texas that connects families to local climate action. My own 10-year-old is thankfully alive and safe and well, but as a mom, I've been feeling the loss of the youth who died in the flooding in a very visceral, immediate way. I'm heartbroken over the children who died at camp, that a place of independence, adventure, friendship, connection to the outdoors could turn so terrifying and deadly. And underlying that is a fear that if it is getting harder in a warming, unstable climate to keep my child safe. And as I've spoken with caregivers in my community back home and with caregivers here today, I've discovered I'm not alone. This loss runs deep. And rather than turn away from those feelings, today we are leaning into them. I'm so grateful for this moment of grieving together. But y'all, let's not stop there. It cannot end there. This collective grief that we are experiencing is a sign that we need to adjust our priorities, to take action to protect what we love. As a Texas climate organizer serving families, I'm here in Washington because I believe it's vital to connect one of the worst disasters in Texas history to a larger story. Yes. Kids around the world are bearing the brunt of climate change's impacts, and we are failing to protect them. Let me say that again. Our kids are at the front lines of the climate crisis. And we see this playing out in so many ways, big and small. Summers no longer have the same sense of unbridled joy and possibility. Wildfire smoke, extreme heat can make it dangerous for kids even to set foot outdoors. Young people who survive disasters like the recent floods can develop PTSD, which is compounded by poverty, repeat exposures to disasters, or other sources of instability in their lives. And the list goes on and on. Now, I get it. This isn't a comfortable or easy reality to sit with. But if we, the adults in the room, don't acknowledge the reality of climate change and that more frequent and intense extreme weather events are ahead, then my kid, your kid, our kids will continue to be at risk. Caregivers should not be bearing the burden of this alone. We need lawmakers at every level of government to be asking themselves, how can we learn from this disaster? How can we protect kids and communities from the future climate disasters that are coming? For a start, as you've heard already, we need to restore funding for agencies like NOAA and FEMA. We also need a rapid clean energy transition and a deep commitment by government and civil society to hold fossil fuel companies, banks, and insurers accountable for the crisis. If we as a society, as a nation, are comfortable ignoring this basic moral obligation to prioritize children's safety, health, and their right to thrive, then we've lost our compass, we've lost our way. So let's use this moment to do better, both to honor the children we've lost and to protect the children who are still with us. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kale Lerman. I am a Texas mother and a former Hill Country camper and counselor for many years. And if you have had the absolute pleasure of country, you know what a magical place it is. Carrying these trunks that represent all of the girls that were lost at Camp Mystic across this field this morning brought back so many memories of carrying my own trunk across a field filled with excitement, a little bit of nervousness at what was to come over those 2 weeks. And it is such a blessing, such a pivotal moment in childhood. And for these girls to not have come home to their mothers is unthinkable. As a mother myself, it's absolutely unimaginable to think about what they are going through in this moment. And we have the ability to predict these things and prevent the loss of life by refunding the National Weather Service and NOAA. So it is simple. We are here asking that those two things be refunded so that we can protect our children. Climate change is here. It is not a topic of discussion anymore. We are all experiencing it, no matter what background you come from, no matter what political affiliation you are a part of. Climate change is here and it's real, and we need our government to fund the services that allow us to protect ourselves and our communities, our families, so that we can stay as safe as possible in these really challenging times. Thank you.
Hi, I'm a Texas dad, not a Texas mom. I live in San Antonio, closest big city to the affected area. My nephew was evacuated. I spent countless days on the Guadalupe, playing, sliding down the Ingram Dam. It's a magical place, and this is a great tragedy. But this is what's coming for every community in America. So if you think it's just this one place, it's coming for you next, okay? You think you're safe. No place is safe. It's not climate change, it's a climate crisis, climate catastrophe, okay? And what we're seeing on a local level, on a state level, and on a national level is it's not mere incompetence. It's you have government officials who actually don't believe in government, who ruin the agencies they're in charge of so that they can privatize them, okay? And we're here to say no thank you.
Okay, we want to be really clear about our demands today. We're here as parents demanding that our federal government restore funding to FEMA, NOAA, and the National Weather Service. We're here to hold polluters financially accountable. We're here to get the government out of bed with big oil. And we're here to protect kids and communities from the worsening climate crisis. Thank you.
I'm going to give you a line, and you say, we rise. The people. We rise.